I'm at CaseIH dealer here. Finally, actually has some decent inventory. So I thought I'd take a look at some case equipment, some combines in particular. And since I would talk about John Deere combines in my video, here's a CaseIH corner. This is the new 4412, 12 row here, but we got a 4408. One thing I noticed that they really improved is they've increased these rolls. They're intermeshing now. Ours are not. They've also sleeked up the poly, it looks like. So they've got a few enhancements on their feeding, which needed to happen in a bad way. There's a 2588 and there's a new 7240. That's a pretty nice combine. These old 2588s, you know, they bring way too much money. I've looked at some 2388s, and you're talking about an 06 vintage that's asking prices in the 80,000 range. I don't know what this particular one is, but I can imagine they're probably asking almost $100,000 for it. 6088 would be a replacement for this. It's supposed to be an improved model. These had a 70-30 weight split on them, and then when they went to the newer series, they went to a 60-40 weight split, which is what most standard combines have as a weight split. Most of your flagship series, which would be your 7240s, are a 60-40 weight split. Now it's 70-30 weight split. What happens is you end up doing a nosedive when you go downhill, and I can tell you that's off of first person basis there. So 2588s, they improved the unload chains. They're bigger than on a 2300 series. This particular one has 20.8 by 42 straddle duals, and that was obviously a factory option. So not a bad looking machine. Been here, had one of these for years. You had to open the side panels before you could. We had a 2188, but this is just a improved version of that. But so many damn problems, these goddamn things. Pain in the ass to work on this. Freaking gearbox you change oil in. This deal here was a joke. It had needle bearings in this arm. And this was a kit we put on our 2188, because originally it just had like a little C channel along here. And those would work back and forth. They'd break, so they had this big reinforcing kit they put on there. And they had a kit that they put on for the external chopper adjusts. You know, ours was a pin on the earlier one. All it was a bunch of crutch fixes for these old antiquated 1480s. Is basically what it was. So they're not a bad machine, but I don't know. You know, we've had one. I know where all the problem points are at. I know where all the wear points are at. And, you know, on a 1,000-acre farm, I really think if you wanted to keep up, you know, in good condition, you'd be looking at probably somewhere in the neighborhood of $15,000 a year just for general upkeep. 2500 series, or late 2300 series. They went to the gearbox here. The earlier version had a chain drive back in here, and actually used an electric starter motor to reverse the feeder house. There's the old feeder house. You know, can't really adjust the speeds. Just a fixed speeds. Got belts alongside and super close belt shields and overlapping piss poor design to take on and off there. There's a bunch of rear weights. That seems like a stupid design when you got your axles scattered wrong, so you have to actually put weights in there to hold anything. I know we had to have weights on ours. There was a rear assist. We actually had to modify the bracket to get them to fit in there, and that was just to run an 8-row head. They did improve in the late 2300 series, all this engine air filtration system. Again, another failed design. These go up. There's a bearing in here, bearing up here. Shaft drive with bevel gears in there. Problematic. Now here's a 7240. That's a nice combine. There's a 7230. This lane picking little rubber tits off the tires, but that's a 7230. And there's a split in these 7230s where they have a few of them have a 40 series cab and some of them have a 20 series cab. But the 30 series, you can always tell late and early between the headlights. This will be an earlier version headlight, and the headlights look like that on the later version 30 series. And these rotary screens on these had the round cutout on them. When they went to the 40 series, they changed the engine compartment and they went to that cut down poly side panel. They changed the rotary engine screen up there, changed it significantly, quite a bit improved. 6130, another 7240, a whole rash of those things. 7240 again, and there's a that one's sweet looking. It's 8240 with a quad track system. It's got some custom pen strapping on it. And what do we got here? 2388 with 30.5 by 32 front tires on it. Looks like a 6-row corn head. There's a brand new 7240. And they've really improved the lights and everything on the new 40 series. This is a brand new one. And they're finally getting on board and going to a cast slat in here. John Deere does their 4-strand feeder house chain a little better. International, they got a pretty good feeder house, but the thing that they fail on compared to the new 70 series John Deere is their sprockets in the back are a little bit weak. These feeder houses are good and bad, but these sprockets in the back, if your chain and your sprockets get wore a little unevenly, hi Addie, you'll end up jumping your chain. And on a John Deere, this chain's close to this chain, so the center's wider, whereas International's unevenly spaced. And that is a mistake. It makes it too easy for everything to jump off course. They really needed to do like John Deere and scatter their chain out. Other places are a lot better than John Deere. Axle's well thought out, well laid out. And it is replaceable. I like that. It's wide open underneath here. Wide open under the cab. And there's all that new paint and everything. Well, it's a beautiful smell. But their wiring is not near as good as John Deere. I think I mentioned that in the video I did of the S770. Their wiring is definitely a fail compared to John Deere. John Deere is now currently offering the hydraulic pitch on the front feeder house plate here, whereas this International is not. And John Deere has a 4x4 feeder house too, where their pivot's longer. On the International, it's a relatively short arm design. And so this feeder house has got some things that are better than John Deere, and some things aren't quite as good. John Deere also has a single point attachment, whereas International is actually, you still got to hook the power line up. Now there's a gearbox there, a power shaft goes up to this other gearbox. Full CVT drive, no belts, no cables or anything else. Much better design than John Deere. That CVT shaft goes right up the side too. And on the 40 series here, they kind of pulled everything away from the side a little bit, so it actually made everything a lot easier to work on. And up under here, you got this is your rock trap, and you can pull this handle and dump all your stuff down out there. And they've got a little cover there. It keeps everything from falling down. You know, you dump it, all your stuff runs down on the ground. Boy, new is pretty, I will say that. This particular one has the 620 dual options. And they got a very good bolting system. These bolts hold the inners and the outer wheels go over it. They got a hellaciously heavy-duty bolting system there. And I've heard they're coming out with a new 50 series. It's supposed to have even a different looking body on it. So we'll see, you know, what happens there in the future. International, you can shut your floor augers and clean your unload auger out. The 20 series Internationals had a fail of an unloading system. John Deere at that time period was better. Now, current, 40 series versus an S770, which would be a competitor to this 7240. I don't know. I think this International might have a little bit on them, but they're both very, very, very good. International's really gotten with it on their big cast elbow up top. Totally redesigned all this structure, and like I say, you can shut the floor augers off in the tank. I think John Deere's a little bit easier to clean out there, but International really has them on this CVT drive up through here. It's so simple. That there, off tip of my finger if this thing will focus, is the chopper drive. That's a high and a low speed. That is a failure that International's still using.
Chuck E. Cheese's.
Oh, you picked some corn for me. Good job. Thanks.
I got some corn to eat.
I guess he's getting the harvest started early. But anyway, back to the combine here. Hydraulic drive fan, big advancement over here at John Deere. Like I say, that chopper is really heavy duty, and I mentioned in a John Deere video how they have a expeller. So the chopper's better on John Deere, it's in the back, but you still have to have an expeller. Whereas International, you don't need the expeller, but the chopper's not as good. So, pick your worst evil there. The poly panels and everything are a lot easier to get off the side than a John Deere. I think, there's no shoe augers in here. I like that. Simple. Keeps everything very simple. Just not having shoe augers is good. It's a good thing. Your master brake, everything's down here on the left side where it should be. And you got a sealed up toolbox here. Two things there. I won't open it. But anyway. Yeah, you can get in there. You got toolbox and your batteries and everything over here on the left side. So they've made a lot of improvements here over the 20 series that we've had, which needed to be done. There's all your CVT drive. That's a bit of a nightmare, but you know what? 3,000 or 4,000 hours most of the time, nobody's replacing any parts of it, so not bad. Rear axle's hellaciously heavy in this one. This one's a two-wheel drive. But their steering ratio is really well done on these Internationals. It's a 3-turn steer to steer, lock to lock. It's a turn and a half each way out of center. And John Deere has had a bit of issue in the past, not quite being as tight of a ratio. And there's nothing I hate more than needing a spinner knob to keep up steering with your steering wheel. There's the linear actuator on the boot out here. You can adjust that your unload auger. You can adjust your spout on the go. Looks like this particular one right there has the air tank option to blow things off. The engine compartment on these is not near as sealed as the John Deere. It's not as neat and clean. I kind of like the way that John Deere's all sealed up there. It stays a little cleaner. And their ducting. You can do a lot of different things with all this settings, but it's flimsy, tinny. Everybody probably uses these for pullouts and you get in a mud hole, but that's not what they're designed for. Here you go. There's a view of that chopper. There's the rotor. The sieves. It's just pretty damn simple. There's just nothing here. I really like the layout of these Internationals inside. These are really simple. This has got the higher dollar spreader in the back. They make an old twin disc, which is kind of like these, old 2388 here. They make that for these, and it's only rated for rice. But I don't see why it wouldn't work in corn and beans. I know a couple guys that have had it in corn and beans. They say it's working just fine. So I think if I were to buy one, I would buy that twin disc, because I'm not superly stoked about the way that these spread. And for that fact, I'm not superly stoked about the way that John Deere PowerCast tailboard spreads either. I think the old turkey tail on John Deere is almost better. I went ahead and climbed on up here on the platform, and there's an air chuck there. That's nice, you can blow stuff off. But look, I have my master key here with me. Maybe that was open before. Evidently it was. It's just sticky. Yep, just sticky. It was open. New car smell. Oh, leather fumes there. Actually, leather emits a bit of a gas at first. It always kind of stinks. But definitely new car smell. Big, beautiful interior. Very nice cab. 20 series had a lot of the controls over here. They've went to a simple cubby hole here, and they moved everything over to the right side now. This is the Pro 700, which isn't even worth a shit in my opinion compared to the John Deere's. Their multi-handle is pretty ergonomic. They do have a lot of switches on here. Do I like this one or do I like John Deere's? Well, a little back and forth. It's really good in here. I do not like how you have to pick your elbow up, reach around the corner and back here, and I do not care for their gear shift. That is better on a John Deere. I like everything needs to be this direction. That's more ergonomic on John Deere. But the basic layout of the cab is very good. It's very comfortable and spacious, and I do like the right-hand door. So, or this or a S770 John Deere. I don't know, back and forth a lot. Like I say, they are supposedly coming out with a new 50 series CaseIH, which we need to see if that's coming out soon or not. Maybe hopefully they unveil it at Farm Progress this year, but I wouldn't hold my breath. But I think it's supposed to have some things like the John Deere does, as far as they got like a high-speed camera that continually monitors grain conditions. I think that's going to be the advancement in the Case IH that you're going to be seeing. Almost all your settings are here in your control. It's well laid out. I will admit it's very well laid out. That's a controller that you can run all day long and not get real tired of. Good design. Good design. So I'm going to move on down the line here and make sure the kids don't run off, but I'm going to take a look at some of these other combines here too. Because as much as I like this brand new 7240, and as much as I like that new S770 there, I just don't think they're in our price range, especially right now with the tariffs on the corn. And I figured before I left I'd get a little video of this 2588 interior. Oh lordy. Oh, they put an ag leader in it. An old Integra. I have spent a lot of hours on one of these cabs. This is improved over the 2188, but god dang, it's the same thing. It's not much room. You can hear your seat squawking against the back of the cab. Even the steering columns are a little bit off center. The controls are never that bad. They were not that ergonomically bad. Decent layout. I mean, why would you pay $100,000 for this thing when you can get a 7120 like they have sitting over there for, you know, $140? It just doesn't make sense to pay what they're asking for these combines. They were $65,000. I think I might be a little more inclined to take a look at one. Well, anyway, I'll take a look at a few more things around here. There's a T8040. What a piece of shit. Anyway, you know, 7120 would be a better choice than 2588. But take a look at a few more of these, and I'm gonna get out of here. So, anyway, thanks you guys for watching. And if you like this video, hit the thumbs up, and don't forget to comment and subscribe.